Another day, another ghost town. And this one is super special because it's actually a Montana state park. So welcome y'all to Bannack State Park. So Bannack State Park is actually an old historic mining town that they have since been able to preserve, turn into a park, and give you this cool visitor guide that kind of helps you figure out what you're seeing as you're walking by. So I believe there are over 60 buildings in total here. I'm not quite sure all of what you can walk through, so we're going to explore that together. But the cool thing is that I was actually told Beans is allowed inside. Originally, I was told he wasn't. Well, I read that he wasn't, but they just were like, oh no, he's allowed in. So any building that is open, I'm allowed taking Beans in, which is really nice. Most of the more, I guess, important buildings are locked up. So we just left the Turner House, and then we saw the assay office, which is next. And as you know, that's always the most important building in a ghost town or a mining town. And then this was the city drugstore. Super cool that there's actually a drugstore here. See if I can get you a peek through the glass because it's really cool inside. One thing you'll notice about a lot of the buildings, they are the flat front buildings, the false front buildings, which if you remember is a sign of prosperity in a ghost town when there weren't camps. It was kind of like the next step up was to have the flat front, the false fronts. Welcome to Hotel Mead. Oh, this is beautiful. Let's go. This building is stunning. So this is the former Hotel Mead. This building actually sat empty until about the 1890s when Dr. Mead bought it, turned it into a plush hotel, had guest rooms, white linens on the tablecloths, very posh for the time. And it actually was in operation until 1941 when everything kind of closed around here. So that's probably some of the linoleum that I'm seeing. What every fancy schmancy hotel needs: a safe. This door is so heavy, you will not catch me going anywhere in here. Got the inner doors too. I love that the safe has like scroll work on the outside. Like, we really needed iron scroll work. I'm going to assume, yes, back here is the giant kitchen and eat-in hall. So they could have eaten in here, it looks like, or possibly just prepared. Seems kind of strange in the 1800s to have eaten back here, especially with what looks like two large dining rooms. It's pretty interesting because we kind of have that mix of the old school and new school since, you know, being built in the 1890s and then going all the way till the 40s, things changed. Electricity came, so you can see literally electrical wires across the roof, like kind of pulled across the ceiling. And funny enough, it has the same moldings that my parents' house had where I grew up, which was also built in 1910. So kind of like in the Fairplay Museum, they do have some rooms set up that are locked with like furniture and how they would have been set up back in the day. Funny enough is my childhood bed was almost identical to this. Let's go. So we're up on the second floor now, and my guess is that these are all the rooms. This building is massive. Like, I would just be showing you so many empty rooms, but it just goes so many different ways. And yes, this would make a fantastic haunted house. This place is gigantic. So this hallway is absolutely super tall. Some of the rooms have lower ceilings, and then some have really tall ones like this one that are extra gigantic. So I'm wondering if, just like in today's hotels, they had fancier rooms and lower class rooms. And I'm going to assume this was a fancy one. Just picturing myself in a fancy dress descending the stairs instead of my cutoffs. The restoration of Hotel Mead cost over $200,000, and honestly, this is one of the most epic hotels, ghost town buildings I have ever walked through. You can just feel the history. You can hear it. Like, I don't know, the echoes of your own voice feels like the echoes of history. You can imagine what it would have been like waking up in one of those wrought iron beds and looking out over this town, because it still looks similar to how it would have looked back then. Super, super cool. But we've got more buildings, so let's go. Had this goes down to ourselves minus a few other people, which is really cool. I don't know if it's because I'm very early, or I think in 2 weeks Bannack Days is here, which has like costumed actors and events and things, so maybe people wait for that. But so far it's been very quiet. It is only 10 in the morning. They open at 8, so could be part of it. Walking on boardwalks never gets old. I have a feeling they get quite a bit of saturation here. They did have a flood back in 2013, almost lost some of the buildings, but this is also very reminiscent of how it would have been back in the day, with boardwalks connecting the important buildings like the SA office, the hotel, things like that. Well, welcome to Skinner's Saloon. So this was actually originally built somewhere else and moved. So they did that here. I still don't understand how that's easier. But this was owned by Henry Plumer and Cyrus Skinner. Cyrus was actually hanged later in his life for allegedly being a spy. He was tracked down. So these stories that this bar could tell, wildness. After that, it was used as a variety of things, including a barber shop. So this building's got some stories. Many of you know I would love to live in Silverton, and I've always dreamt of buying property and building a house. And this style is literally exactly what I want. I want the porch. It's got the tin roof so that I could sit out with my coffee, listen to the rain, and then it's just nice and small inside. It is like, this is what I would build. The perfect miner's house. Picture this with a naked bed. Wrong picture. This is your great room. So I'm thinking it would be great to have the maybe kitchen in here. I don't know. It might need to be like a living room / kitchen in here, because it would also help keep the place. Maybe a wood burning stove. There's already a flue here. Big old cozy couch in the corner. Maybe corner kitchen over here. Nice and just, yeah, cozy vibes. Windows to see the rain and the snow, and then the bedroom back here. This one looks to have had an outhouse. We don't want that in our house, so just picture a cozy bedroom, maybe another little sitting area because there's enough room, and then we just do a nice addition for the bathroom off of here. But yeah, picture giant king size wrought iron bed, cozy couches. Yeah, I could live here. Not this exactly. What is actually really cool in this place, besides the fact that it is like the perfect layout, is you have a very unique mix. So we have the flat board that then they would have used newspaper, which we have, and linen strips to keep the air out, which we all have. But then we have linoleum on the floor. So this was used for a couple decades at least. Some ugly linoleum, kid. So we're just gonna picture that as a fully built custom bathroom area. Okay, we're not gonna move in like that. But the wallpaper is crazy. The suits for the new season. Cannot see dates, that's what I'm trying to find. And I've not been able to find a date yet. But then you also have this horrible wallpaper. Then you have some boxes as well. So they did what they could, man. They did what they could. But yeah, if I was going to build my dream miner's home in Silverton, it would be very similar to this in size, front porch, maybe a little back porch. I even like the door. Yeah, we could live here. Caught on video. Yeah? Yeah. Yep. Walked out to a very creepy spot, the gallows. Yes. The gallows. I don't know if this is the original wood or not, it doesn't say, but this was the location at least. Whoops, oh, sorry, bud. His leash was strapped under my book bag. But this was the location of all of the hangings of Bannack. Now, remember Plumer, the guy who also owned the bar with Skinner? It wasn't just Skinner that was hanged. It was actually Plumer. So Plumer and Skinner went to the same prison in San Quentin. They ended up moving out here, renewing old acquaintances. In the matter of like a year, 102 murders of people. Like what else? Of people. 102 murders. Now, this town did swell up to about 3,000 people during the spring, but only had 300 people during the winter. So like, killed like a third of the population, peeps. So they were actually tracked down by a group called the Vigilantes, which was put together to take care of the road agents, is what they called themselves. Heaven help me. This was a wicked little town. So this is the gallows. So this is where they would have been hanged. Fiends is now in the shade. And according to the book, the cemetery is a worthwhile stop. So we're gonna head there next. Never mind, I thought the cemetery was this way, but it is not. It's just a gate that dead ends. No pun intended, because the cemetery is not back there. Whew. Getting a little toasty down here. Welcome to Bachelor's Row. Now, the mining that started here was placer mining down by Grasshopper Creek, which I'll take you to and we'll check it out. Then it went to dredging, and then it went to hard rock mining for gold and quartz. But the very first miners that were here were placer miners, which is where you shake the pan in the water. Now, most of them were very down on their luck historically, so they didn't want to waste any time when they got to a new site, a new claim, to build a proper shelter. So in the spring, summer, they cowboy camped it, and they worked from sun up to sundown. They slept, and they went right back. But as winter approached here, they knew they needed to have some adequate shelter. So that is how Bachelor Row came about. Now, a lot of times, multiple men would have shared the same space. It saved money. If they worked, different shifts or different times, or the same time, they could have the heat off and not waste resources. So a lot of times these small cabins would have been shared by multiple people. They could have had multiple bunks. They could have been flip-flopping out like they did at Independence. But this is Bachelor Row, and it looks like Bachelor's Row. This beautiful house, as with most houses in mining areas, had two histories. So this is the Rowe and the Graves house. Rowe was the first man to make it rich here in Bannack. So this is considered one of the first frame houses in Bannack. He actually came to mine. His mine was very profitable, but he then turned to business interests. which is how a lot of men in mining areas made their money, because they started doing merchandising, freight hauling, banking, and they were able to make a lot more money than just digging for gold. Second was Graves. Graves is actually the one who developed the first electrical gold dredger. So he was a very popular man here, and he lived in this beautiful house. It is, you could tell, it was somebody who was wealthy. Very beautiful wallpaper, high ceilings, which high ceilings are harder to heat. High ceilings, moldings, beautiful windows. Let's check it out. Catching how different these houses are from many that I know. Just the sheer size is so different. I don't know if that has something to do with the fact that it's not on the side of a mountain like many of I have visited. This is a relatively flat plain, but this house is absolutely gigantic and just beautifully made. The wallpaper is gorgeous. It's throughout the whole house. You can still see some of the lower layers of burlap and cardboard and not cardboard. I don't know actually what it was, plasterboard maybe. But above that, beautiful wallpaper in the whole house. I've so far counted 5 flues, so they had 5 ways to heat this place, which would have been needed because it's a lot of small rooms. Like there's not openness that they could have kept the warmth in. So that again tells you just how rich these people were. All right, back to the front. I mean, these windows, what a view. You are all tingled, sir. You're all tingled. Look how pretty. Whoops. Welcome to the Methodist Church. So this was actually the first building that was built just for worship, and it was actually brought about by women, which is pretty typical in mining towns. Women wanted some sort of goodness, of society, of religion in these mining towns, especially before they would come. So as this town got bigger and all those bachelors needed wives, building a church was one of those ways to make this more of a gentle society. So I love that about us. We brought out goodness and the kindness and the religion. So this has amazing acoustics. I wish there weren't people right out the door. I would just belt it. It's amazing. There are a mix of chairs. I think there might have been like a movie theater or something here at some point, because they have like movie theater style chairs, but wow. Then sings my soul, my Savior God to me. It's pretty in here. The sweet, the sound, let's sing, right next to the church, we have the bootlegger's cabin. Ironic that he's there. And then what would have been one of the first examples of like early craftsmanship here. So this is all done by hand tools, so very reminiscent of what we would have seen in Silverton, where everything kind of just dovetails into each other. This actually was built by the same man who worked on the lodge later, the Masonic Lodge that we have yet to see a little bit later. So we walked through a few of the houses and kind of made our way to around the other side of the street. Because I realized if I take you in every single one, we're never gonna get out of here. But I was actually wrong. This is the quarantine house. So some of the houses aren't numbered, they don't have history in the little book, but this is what is considered the quarantine house, the beset house. And they actually say this house is haunted. I would love to stay here overnight and see. Although it's a sad haunting of like the children and people who died, so maybe I don't. Maybe I'd rather stay at the hotel. This one has a lot of graffiti, so I don't know if this happened before Montana State Parks purchased it or after. And if it's after, I mean, shame on you, period, but extra shame on you. To one of the first houses I've seen with an alcove. Alcoves are very popular in Silverton because it's a nice area where you can like get off your snowy stuff. Wow, this house is way bigger than it looked like from the outside. Most of these houses now are starting to look very similar. I'm just kind of catching like little differences. Like this one had an alcove and this one's got curtain rods, different linoleum, like things like that are just starting to be what's different with a lot of these. Wow, seriously though, every time I say that they're all the same, look at this beautiful room. Some water. Is that what the wines are about? It's a good water stop. I also really need a trash can, kid, so I can throw your poop away. I've been carrying this poop for a while now. Watch out, I got you, boo. Forgot his bowl. But he don't need no stinking bowl. Dog star. Hope you guys can even see this. Good. Good. Breathe. Alright, behind us is the false front, which is a store. It's not open, but you can see some things just kind of chilling in there. But what I love is the story. So the long-term resident who lived here, Mabel, actually she was an author, so she wrote a book, so I'm gonna look that one up. But she actually had a mine above Bannack as well called the Mother Lode. She was very eccentric. She had a secondhand store here clear up until 1968, which from what I'm understanding, the park was already purchased and open. So she still lived here and she still worked her mine. And she actually had a very unfortunate incident where she was opening the gate to her mine and her transmission failed and her car rolled and she was crushed. But what an adventurous woman. Like, I love stories like that of super adventurous women back in the day that defied the odds of who and what they should have been. And what a magical back porch she had to look out of. I wonder if her mine was up there. Probably. Probably. So this two-story building was known as the Montana Hotel, and it is right across from the Mead Hotel. And I'm like, who would stay here when you could stay there? But you know, prices. It's like a Motel 6 versus a Hilton. A little creepy to go down, my love. All right, easy, easy. Okay, go ahead. That's easy. Go. Not that easy, kid. Your tail's in there. So the downstairs of this building, as you can see, is the schoolhouse, but the upstairs is the Masonic Lodge. Now, I don't know if they used them separately or together. I didn't read the whole thing just yet, but I have a conspiracy theory against Masonic lodges. So I really do. I can't even find the stairs. Where are the stairs? I don't know. Maybe I watched too much National Treasure, but I have yet to find the stairs. So here's the conspiracy, or where are the stairs? How do I get upstairs? Oh, do I have to go outside? I think I have to go outside. Huh. So apparently they kept their business very separate. Let's go. They've just proved my point. They barred it. No, I'm kidding. It's actually there to protect the stuff that's in there, which is crazy. I got you guys as close as I could, but it's hard to get as close with the glass. But yeah, totally creepy. They even have like a cover over like the original flooring. There's spears and balls and things I don't understand. And yes, I just watch way too much National Treasure, which is one of my favorite books. But I do think these people did some creepy things too. It is starting to get busy here. There are so many people. I am so glad I came when I did, because we are just about wrapped up. We have a few more buildings and then we're all done. So I'm glad. It is 12:08, so I've been here for a couple of hours. And yeah, there's tours going, there's people, there's dogs, there's kids, there's screaming. There's a lot of life going on in this once prosperous mining town turned ghost town turned park that now has life. So it's a great little full circle moment. We're going to continue to kind of meander through the rest of these and wrap up our tour of Bannack. This building behind me is wild. This building is the site of the first ever governor of Montana's mansion. He was not governor at the time. He was not here long, but this is what served as their modest home while they lived in Bannack. Goodness, made it back to the car. I actually went in, took my loaner book, and I got some snacks. I do have a PB&J, so just to go with my snacks. I've not even eaten breakfast, so it is 1:06. We were there. We got here at 9:05. Man, I know how to make my $8 admission fee last. There's actually some gold tour or mill tour, gold panning, and other tours going on. It is getting busy. The parking lot is full now. When I got here, there was one other truck here and we both parked wrong because you couldn't see the lines were like this, and they resprayed the lines, and so me and this truck that came in after me, because this truck is long gone, just look like idiots parked sideways. So I'm gonna get the heck out of here. There are a few things he said on the way out to check. So especially, I guess there's a little cemetery you can pull in. So I'm gonna do that, but also it's just such a beautiful day. Feens didn't get any off-leash time, and I feel like he needs some. So I'm gonna find all of those little historical spots that we didn't get to stop at yesterday when it was raining, or last video for y'all when it was raining, and we're gonna go visit those. So let's just take a leisurely drive home. The drive usually is about 1 hour and 45 minutes. So let's just take a leisurely drive, stop at some places, check some places out, and just explore more of this beautiful area of Montana. Let's go. So this is not the cemetery on the hill that is part of Bannack State Park, but the guy, as I was checking out with my snacks, said this was totally worth a stop. He said just peep in, read some of the gravestones, kind of gives a good history of Bannack. But he also said keep your dog on leash, because he said if there are rattlesnakes around, he goes, there are rattlesnakes around, but he goes, if you're gonna see one, it's gonna be there. So he said, especially since it was like kind of a cold morning this morning, he said they tend to like to kind of come out and lay up on these hills and warm up. For some reason, I don't know why, because I'm in a cemetery, this is the first time I really am like, oh my gosh, I'm in Montana. This is what Montana feels like. This wide open vista I mean, sky, big sky country, for as far as the eye can see. Wind whipping through the hair. There's cattle grazing, and I can hear them over there. And this beautiful lush green grass. The sky is blue, clouds are fluffy. And I was just like, we're in Montana, bitch. We're in Montana, bitch. It just, sorry. I just keep singing random songs today. Yeah, this is like the first moment it's really hitting me and really feeling like big sky country. Yeah, this feels cool. The first point of interest is just this gorgeous view. So I think I'm gonna eat my snack here. There used to be a sign, but you can't really read it anymore. See the word discovery, road, few trees, that's it. Next attraction is, or historical viewpoint, is just down the road, like literally 2 minutes. Not even 2 seconds. 2 seconds, that makes more sense. Luckily I know they're not all that close, but we're still on the top of Big Hole Pass, so that's why it's pretty windy. But we're gonna walk this little thing to I don't know what. So we stand next to a beaver slide. This is a local Montana invention that helps farmers actually stack hay a lot quicker. It was developed around 1910, patented around 1910. And this is a small version. I am pretty sure what I've seen alongside the road is the giant version, but it requires horses to pull, and they can create very large haystacks very quickly. But the other point of interest is the view. So this view has been pretty much uninterrupted other than the road since the 1800s. The ranch that is down below us is the Hamilton Ranch. And so this is like a protected landscape to keep it looking like this for generations to come. And this feels like Montana. Not many signs that are left that are legible, but this one's pretty cool because it actually talks about undaunted stewardship, which is a preservation, it's a large group, different groups of historical and agricultural preservation, and actually what they do to help maintain views like this and history like this. It actually says that the Hamilton Ranch down below still uses the same house that was built in 1903, and this house was very famous because, or well known, I guess, because as cattle ranchers would move their cattle, they would stop here and utilize the house as well to stay. I did not know this. Cattle can lose, hold on, 1% of their body fat for every 10 to 15 miles walking. So it was very important that they keep stopping and resting. And the Hamilton Ranch was part of that. So thanks to the undaunted stewardship, if you're seeing this in 100 years, it should look exactly the same. We haven't passed any more historical points. We passed a few signs. I stopped at the one, but we were in what was called Big Hole Valley. And so basically I was just telling you what the view was, and they pretty much all said the same thing. So they're probably banking that most people only stop at one. But we are out of the Big Hole Valley now. Well, climbing out of the Big Hole Valley. We are headed back up over Lost Trail Pass, back to Sula. But Feens hasn't really gotten a lot of off-leash time the last couple of days. So I found this beautiful road, and we're just gonna take a little meander. I'm just gonna let him sniff to his heart's content. This is on the edge of what looks like it had to have been an epically awful fire. It goes for miles, and you can just see all up mountains and hillsides. It's decimated, so pretty sad, but yet in its own way is super beautiful when you have like the green trees going through the, growing through the fire. So we'll see how far this goes. Kind of just wanted a nice open road so he could be off leash. Obviously we are in a bit bigger bear country than we typically go to, so I don't have my bear spray on me, so we're not gonna go too far. And then yeah, if I'm on trails, he's gonna be on leash. But we're just gonna enjoy. This actually reminds me a lot of the north rim of the Grand Canyon. It's actually the meadows, the trees, the bright blue sky, very reminiscent. So just gonna put some good tunes on and we're just gonna enjoy a little meander. All right, y'all, I think it is our last stop. Fiends and I are gonna be heading up over the pass and then down into Sula, actually a little bit past into Darby to stop at Family Dollar, super fancy stuff here, and get some laundry detergent and maybe some ice cream. Finally some ice cream. We haven't had it yet before we head back to the pod, but I had so much fun taking you all to Bannack with us. I really did not expect it to be that cool and to be there pretty much the entire day. I actually thought we were gonna do that in the morning, maybe hit a trail, go into downtown Darby together, go back to the pod, make dinner. But I already know that this video is gonna be long and chock full of really cool ghost town history, stories, and views. So we are gonna end it here. We're gonna meander a little bit longer, but you guys, we will see you on the next adventure wherever the road and the pod take us. Right, Bob? Right. Yeah, that's why you don't eat sticks. That's why you don't.